Use of English is considered to be one of the most challenging part of the exam, but if you know the strategies, it could be easy to succeed in it. Hello everyone! Today we are going to talk about use of English exam section. Yes, and my first question is, what is tested there? Yes? Do you know what is tested?
Maybe it's vocabulary and grammar.
That's right.
How we use it.
Yes, that's right. And what type of task is used there? What type of exam task is used? So, true, false, matching, maybe.
Reading.
Matching, maybe some words, synonyms, lines.
More ideas?
Maybe tests like
Multiple choice clause.
Yeah.
Actually, we have two of them: lexical multiple choice clause task and grammatical multiple choice clause task. Let's start with the grammatical. There are actually two short gapped texts there, questions from 49 to 58. These two, for example, yes, these two are taken from Real Zeno exam 2018, and I want now to take only one sentence, you see, yes, gap sentence with two gaps, and try to fill the gaps using the strategies, yes? You don't have options at the moment, you can't see them, yes? Because we don't need them for the first step. What should we do first? What do you think?
In my opinion, we should just read it without filling in. Just a gap, for example, and think about the main idea.
That's right. It's the first step, and then, for example, we have already read it. Yes. However, you only have to travel a few thousand miles away before all man-made objects from view. The next step.
Maybe think about what kind of word they need to fill in, noun or verb or
Part of
something.
speech, yes?
Yeah.
We think about part of speech. So we try to fill in the gaps ourselves without options. So to think about our own answers. Okay, and what is useful, as you said, we look at the words immediately before and after the gap to guess what part of speech is missing, for example. Okay, let's do it together. What about the first gap, for example? Do you have any ideas what we can put there?
Maybe preposition.
You think it could be preposition?
Yeah.
But give me just words.
Four maybe.
You think four, yes? More options.
and
Correct.
FU.
So it's article, yes?
Yes.
Okay. What about the second gap? What about the part of speech? Do we have to put the noun or adjective or verb? All man-made objects from view.
Maybe verb.
A verb,
Yes,
that's
maybe
right.
verb.
Let's try to find some verbs to put there. What is happening when we are moving away from somewhere for a long time, yes? So some of the objects, they, from our view, they
Changing.
disappear, that's right. Maybe more examples, synonyms for disappear. Okay, let's look through the options. Yes, you have the same sentence, but now you can see the options. Yes, what about the first gap? There is no there. So let's try to discuss them one by one. The others, the other, and another. There is one more strategy we can use here. If you still struggle, you see the options, yes, but still struggle to choose the correct one, you can try to eliminate obviously incorrect options. Let's think about all of them and try to eliminate some obviously incorrect. For example, what about the others? Is it possible to put there the others?
No, because we
I-
have few, like the others few. It's
And we have miles.
yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
So we can't use the others with a noun because it's a pronoun, and what we really need here is the determiner. Determiner means a word we put in front of the noun to clarify what the noun is referred to. Okay, so the others is obviously incorrect
Yeah.
one. So what we have now, the other, and another. And miles. Yes, noun miles. So we
I think another is incorrect too.
you think it's incorrect? Yes.
Yes.
Why?
Because you can't use another with the
Plural nouns.
yeah, plural.
You think?
plural,
Okay, let us say accept your answer. Yes, but it's not our final decision. Yes,
Yeah.
let's think about the rest. The other and other. For example, other with plural nouns. We need to buy other books to read. Means something of different type. Yes?
yeah.
Do we need this meaning here? Something of different type?
I think no.
No.
Few.
Yes.
Like, so
Nothing about different type of
Yeah.
something. And what about the other? For example, the other with plural noun, it means the remaining part of something, of people, of things. If people, so the remaining part of people from some group, yes? So do we need it actually here? Have we already mentioned something about miles? To say the other, to use the other.
we mentioned few thousand.
Before, to use the other, we have to mention something before. We have to give some information about miles, for example. So we don't have it. So all of them are incorrect then. Okay, I have some information for you. It was taken from Practical English Usage Oxford textbook, and try to read this information. However, we can use another before a plural noun in expression with few or number. And there are two examples. You see?
I'm very lucky, yeah.
Okay, what about the second one? So we had only one option, disappear, yes? So here we have fade, it means also they are synonyms, yes? But what about grammar structure?
I think that fates is incorrect because there are many
Objects,
objects,
it's plural,
and
yes.
yeah, it's plural, and
So,
you can't
yes.
use.
Obviously incorrect. Oh, what about the rest? Okay, but what about future tenses?
We have will and would.
But this part of the sentence starts with before all
Yeah.
made.
It's not future. It's like
We can't use future,
yeah.
yes and yes.
Yeah.
That is why we have only one
Fate.
fate. So fate is correct one here. Was it easy actually?
It wasn't easy, but it was interesting. Really
Interesting. So yes, we have to know the meanings of the words, yes, the structures and so on and so forth. So okay, let's go further. There are some specific language skills candidates should master to complete this task without mistakes. Therefore, we focused on collocations, phrasal verbs and synonyms. Okay, let's go further and move on to the lexical multiple choice task. Questions from 39 to 48, and you can see this one was taken from Oxford Exam Trainer B2, yes, just to demonstrate you the length of the text, yes, and the format, yes. Okay, so, but let's think about, okay, you said that vocabulary is tested in this part. What kind of vocabulary? Is it just a random choice of the author and they just deleted their words? they just didn't like them or something like that, or they try to test some of vocabulary.
Maybe our knowledge of synonyms.
How to use it?
Synonyms, phrasal
Phrasal verbs,
Phrasal
linking words,
linking words, that's right,
collocations,
collocations, and idioms, that's right, very good. Okay, let's start with phrasal verbs and idioms and try to see how they appear in the text, yes? So you can see a part of the sentence with a gap, yes? And actually there is only one part of the phrasal verb is revealed, yes? The other part is missing. So you can see now the options, yes? And just try to read and to fill the gap and explain me your choice, yes?
I can't, so maybe so she decided to settle down. Settle down means like then you move to another country or city, doesn't matter, and then you find job and build your own life. In this case, and settle down and start a family. So she decided to start being a real person who has family, work, and so on. Settle down.
Brilliant. But what about other choices? Are they also phrasal verbs? For example, what is settle up or settle in or settle back? Do you know the meaning of these verbs? Actually, settle down and settle in,
It's the same.
sometimes they sometimes can be interchangeable, but not this time, because if you decided to stay somewhere with a partner, yes, make a family, so this particular phrasal verb settle down is necessary to use. If you want to say that you get, for example, you got familiar with some new place, yes, new job, so settle in is the best choice here. Settle up means to give money back to the person you owe. And settle back means to lean back. Now, for example, you are setting back, yes, you are doing it in a moment. Or this phrasal verb can appear in the sentence with the first part, with the verb, yes, omitted. That is why we have to choose now among the verbs down. And also we have settle down, fall down, climb down, and come down. So all of them can be used in different contexts. Yes? Okay, let's move on to the idiom. Yes? You have, again, part of a sentence and just try to fill it without options. Just want to find out if you know the meaning of the idiom. He felt the weather, so didn't go to work. He didn't go to work.
Because the other was bad.
I think it's not about the weather actually, it's about his
Feelings.
So here are your examples. But it's an idiom, so if you know the meaning, so you know what to put there. If you don't know, you have to try actually, yes? So we know that he actually have felt not well, yes, not well. So we have to use some of these words from the options and to put there, or he felt, on the weather, behind the weather, under the weather, or around the weather. Let's try to make a choice. If it is negative, yes?
Yes, it's negative.
It's negative. So which one could be negative, could give us this negative context?
Maybe under.
That's right. So you just guessed, yes?
Yes.
So you had no idea about the meaning, but looking through the options, yes, you made the correct choice. So I just want to encourage you, don't panic, yes? If you have no idea about what to choose, yes, you have to think and analyze the options, okay? Or the second way, it can appear, yes, with their other part omitted. So, yes, we have under there, and again, the same thing you can do here. So the same strategy, analyze, yes, under what? Under clouds, fog, rain,
Fog and rain is weather actually, so.
yes, okay. So the correct one under the weather. Let's move on to collocations. What are they actually, collocations? What are they? Words we usually generally use together. Make money, make friends, yes? So I have an example here, yes? And you have options from the very beginning. So read the sentence and look at the words immediately before and after the gap. It's very important here. So
Maybe arrive?
I think.
We use arrive at.
arrive, yes?
Maybe.
And what do
I
you think?
maybe reach.
You think reach. Okay. Any other ideas? So we have arrive and we have reach, yes? Actually, the correct one is arrive. Congratulations. Arrive at a decision. Or arrive. And as I said, it's very important to look before and after the gap and then decide, yes, which one is correct. Okay, linking words. Yes, what are they? Linking words.
For example, in the text, then we have text and they link some parts of this text. Actually, these words are like firstly, after that, finally, and so on.
Okay, that's right. To connect something,
Yeah.
yes? Okay, the main idea. There is an example. Yes, we have a gap and we have some options, and read the example and try to choose the correct option.
Maybe it's better than.
Everybody knows that it's better to do something instead of losing business. Yes?
Yes.
So maybe such an obvious thing, there is no need to state it. Better than lose business, the company decided to try.
Eraser.
Razor then.
Rather, yes, give us idea that instead of, yes, but we can't use instead of because
Then.
with then, yes,
Yes.
instead of losing should be. But rather give us the same idea that there are two choices to lose the business or not to lose the business. So, and rather, as you said,
Yeah.
they decided, yes, not to do it.
Yeah.
That is why this one is the correct option. We used Oxford Exam Trainer B2 to practice use of English exam tasks, followed by strategies we needed. Okay, now I want you again to do some task taken from the exam, yes, task from Oxford Exam Trainer B2. Yes, actually there are two sentences here and two gaps. Yes, read this part and using the strategies, actually we have already mentioned that. We start with reading, ignoring the gaps, yes, then we think about our own options, look before and after the gap, eliminate maybe some incorrect options, yes, after reading the options, yes, but we start with reading the whole text. You could read it aloud for everybody.
I can.
Yes, please.
In 1849, Charles Henry Harold opened Knightsbridge store in London, beginning in a small room. It sold tea and groceries. The business gap steadily, and by 1880 it was a successful department store offering everything, gap, medicine and perfumeries to clothing and foods.
That's right. So let's start with the first gap, yes? Give me your own ideas, your options. What part of speech?
Maybe it's verb.
It's a verb, that's right. Any options?
The business.
It was a successful,
Yeah.
yes? So it should be something positive.
Rice.
So the first, yes, rice. Yes, If it is past, so then
Rice. Oh, yeah.
rose.
A rose, yeah. I forgot about this actually.
Okay, so the business rose
Rose.
steadily. Okay, more ideas, more synonyms.
Go bend up steadily.
Steadily or grow
Yeah,
up.
grow up, yeah.
Then in past we use grew,
Grew.
up. Okay, what about the second one? It is the one
I
actually.
think we can use for.
I agree.
Oh,
from medicine and
or-
perfumeries to clothing and food.
So from.
From
Yeah,
Not
from.
for, but from. Okay, that's right. Okay, now we are going to read the options. Yes? And four options for the first gap. They are synonyms. All of them means get bigger. Yes? But I have a prompt for you. Three of them use only one dimension. Only one dimension. So this way, yes, or that way. And when we talk about business, we have to use all dimensions. So like coronavirus. Yes. So which one is correct here? So what about stretched? What do we usually stretch? Like this, yes?
Yeah.
You can do it only using one dimension, yes?
Yes.
You can widen it, yes, for example,
And
or
nothing else.
broaden and nothing else. Or you can put it like this and make it bigger this way, okay? Widened, using again one
One way.
direction, one way, yes, like this, yes, make it wider. What about last two things? Extended and expanded. Interesting.
It's very interesting.
Uh-huh. When we say extend, we can use any direction or any definition, but not all of them at the same time.
And expand is this, but in the same time. Yeah.
Yes, that's
Uh-huh.
right. So I just want you to demonstrate the meanings of all of them. Yes, stretch means make bigger to greater or fullest length, for example. Yes, length. Wider means make bigger using one dimension. In this dimension is width. Yes, extend means make something longer or wider to cover some area. For example, we extended the wire, yes, along the corridor, for example. Why not? Expand means spread out disease, for example. This time business better. This implies area bigger in all dimensions. Okay, now everything is clear. Yes. Okay, what about this part? What can you tell me? What is the most difficult area?
The most difficult to choose between extend and expand.
So synonyms,
Yeah.
right? Okay, but anyway, there is one exam strategy. If you have done everything, yes, so you thought about your own options, you read the options you were given, but still struggle, make a guess.
Yes.
Try to put them one by one, read, and choose which of them you think, yes, from your point of view, sounds better than the others.
Yeah.
Okay?